All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode. As always, I'm your host, TedTokez, and we got some more World of Tanks here. Now, I'm going to let you guys know first and foremost about this episode. It's mostly losses. Not talking actual end game victory or defeat. I'm talking about my survivability here. Now, with that being said, I want you guys to pay attention to these matches. Now, obviously, this first one is just me. I'm going to make this rotation here. I end up getting high centered on this rock and then crashing. We end up losing right here. So, not that best of a scene, but I wanted you guys to notice the stalemate of the teammates. Like, look at these tanks down here in the southeast. Look at these tanks up here in the north. You telling me 3 mediums can't take on two light tanks? Simple stuff like that's exactly why your guys' game is so lackluster as far as activity. Alright, now here's another perfect example. Next match, we're in the Leopard 2A5 this time, so it's not an armadillo able to just outspeed the most of the team, allegedly, and then get up there all by himself and end up dead, going out there dying by himself, I guess, as they say. Alright, now, look at this. Now, you're telling me, with a team that is what the team is behind me, on that hill, you're telling me that I'm capable of getting this medium, I'd say probably half of its health, and then being able to get parts of that heavy, right? That should not have been possible with this many tanks back there. There's no way I should have been able to get parts of both tanks. And now we have to bridge this gap. Maybe some of those tankers in that northeast corner will help us push the enemy base or more. Maybe they'll sit there looking for by default free Overwatch points that somebody else is earning them. However, if I go up here and die on this front line quicker than I'd like, then they won't have that front line getting them free points as easily as they would if somebody like me who would play front lines does. Now, I'm not trying to act like I'm so much better at front lines or something. It's just the experience I have. It allows me to actually be able to approach front line differently than somebody who's been doing nothing but Overwatch his entire practice time. And that's all this game is. Even in the real, even during ranked, it was practice time because you could run around as one tank and destroy half the enemy team on your own. Well, you can't do that in 15 versus 15. You could probably get pretty close, even without, even with the support of your team. But if you're doing it by yourself, it's just not going to work out. Like as you can see right here. Now I'm taking the center of this hill so that I can control either side from pushing over. These couple tanks on the left, on the right, and them couple tanks on the left. I don't want any of them to push over this hill. I want them to stay on that peak of the hill so that when they peak that hill, my team's ready and able to shoot at them. If they're over the hill, I'm going to have to sit here and wait for reloads maybe. I'm going to have to wait for them to line up the shot. Shots are already lined up. They're all at the peak of that hill. Now, I do want to say this, though. Personally, I think I should have rotated right on this mound, and then that would have gave me the opportunity to probably extend my life a little bit longer than I did in this encounter. However, my goal here was to keep them on that hill. Now, normally I would have tried to flank them and just take on the fight, but I was trying to give Overwatch a chance at supporting, right? I was in a mood to where I'm not going to play the game for them. I'm going to just go out there and play the game, and then, if I get myself into a challenge, I'm obviously going to try and overcome. I may make mistakes because I'm not full, I'm not 100% playing competitively. I'm just here for fun, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't personally find it fun to sit behind my team and get points that I didn't earn. I feel like I'm being babysitted, right? Now, obviously, the one who should feel like they're being babysitted are the ones on the front line because Overwatch is, support out of the battlefield, which means they probably won't even have to take on a lot of the oppressive nature of the enemies because they're not in the battle area. right here's another good example. You can see me just kind of working my way around the map, you know, rotating enemies, trying to reel in a position, keep some of the enemies uninterested in the large threat of my team, and focus on me. I have a light tank coming in to support me with this light tank, as an enemy heavy is coming in to support their light tank. And I believe right about here is where I get got. We got that enemy, and here comes the heavy to finish me off. And then it's that light tank to fight on a heavy. Meanwhile, there's, 6 tanks literally a square away, and they won't even take on the 3 tanks that they're fighting, right? Perfect example of how the lack of participation is what ruins this game. It's not the players that go out there and die. They're trying. You can see every attempt here was a genuine try, except for maybe the first one, where I just rotated into a rock formation and then ultimately shortened my attempt. But every other attempt was a genuine attempt, right? The only reason I died is because of a lack of participants beside me or even with me. Overwatch wasn't even overwatching. You could see it. That's why they'll lose. That's why they lose teammate after teammate, because they're not actually overwatching. I think it is something it's got something to do with the fact that a lot of them are selfish or self-centered or both, I say it all the time, they either can't or won't or both, or it's both. They either can't and or won't play the game. Now, if they can't play the game, they should be trying to learn how to play the game. If they won't play the game, that's understandable. Again, that's their choice, right? I could be muted. We can't really do anything but report a player for ruining the outcomes of the game. And that doesn't even work, right? And so, like I said, the corruption is crazy in this game. The amount of there's no real team cohesion, right? So it really is like every man for himself in this game anymore, and that's what's ruining this game. You no longer are getting multiple asset fights, right? It's just nothing but Overwatch or dog pals. You don't really see people actually entertaining battles anymore. Now, I think it's because a lot of them don't know how to deflect. A lot of them don't know how to use the armor on their tank, probably because they've practiced Overwatch for so long. As you can see, I'm trying to rotate around here, and I got all these tanks here, right? Got 3 enemies I'm dealing with, and all these teammates back here just kind of moseying around, That's the stuff that ruins the game. I've lost countless amount of health points to my own decisions and my teammates. I am not costing my teammates a single point besides the points that I'm actually collecting of my own. Excuse me. But that's why Overwatch will do that. Because once you go out there and allegedly get yourself eliminated, that leaves a lot of points left for them to just get by default. They know they don't even have to earn half of it. As long as they got somebody like me who's going to go out there and distract the enemies, for them to do that Overwatch bullcrap. Look at them. Sitting literally a square away from the base won't cap it, but they're going to let our base get capped. Now, tell me they're not expecting someone like me and my light tank to go save the game for them, right? I don't got time for that shit. Alright, you guys want to win, you'll show me you want to win. You guys want to lose? Well, I'm going to see that you want to lose, simply by your play stats. See, someone like me, who's going to try to convince you to join the front line knowing that it's harder for you to participate up there than it would be for you to be Overwatch for someone like me. However, I'm not going to sit here and be the guy that says, oh, this is the most effective way to play, and that's why you should play Overwatch, right? Because they're lying to you. First off, the most effective way to play is frontline. It's just riskier. Why? Because they can't get free points. They have to actually trade deflection to counter the shot that they would have taken while they were taking their shot, right? So they have to actually earn the longevity of effectiveness through frontline.
Overwatch, they don't have to. They could literally shoot not one bullet and still be the last one alive. How is that playing effectively? How does that make you an effective player just because you lived longer than everybody? It doesn't. It actually ruins the game. It ruins your outcome as a player, and it ruins other players' outcome. Not just performance-wise. Here we are. We're about to finish this match up. As you can see, me and a light tanks, or me and that tanks, it's all that's left. And we're going to try and, maybe get some of the points out of these 10 enemies. Because, a 15 versus 15 should end in a 2v10 at any point, So much skill and capability on the team. All this overwatching being taken place, it's almost surprising how we could lose in a fashion like this, right? But that's the gameplay of World of Tanks, You want to learn how to tank? This game could help you do it. It's not perfect, but it's definitely going to teach you them basic things that would allow you to implement knowledge or experience into whatever situation that you were presented with. However, that's it for this one, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video.